Today we are going to discuss the last one, which is the method for sites with promise. And if you go back to our discussion of the previous methods, you will see that in each method we have mentioned something against the method. Okay, for example, in crash frequency data, in crash frequency method, we are not taking care of the severity of the crash, and we are not taking care of the volume on the road. With high volume, we have higher frequency. With rating a crash rate method, again we are not accounting for the severity, and we are not we are not accounting for the severity, and it may be biased towards low volume sites because low volume sites will have higher rates. Okay, and then with relative severity index, we are focusing on the cost. Same thing with the EPDO method. Okay, so every method has a problem. Okay, no method is perfect here. So in sites with promise approach, it's not a method, you can say it's an approach. We calculate crash frequency, we calculate crash rates, and then we apply 5 conditions on them. Okay, so instead of relying on one or two values, we are coming up with 5 conditions which can be applied to crash frequency and crash rates for all the sites, all similar sites. Okay, and then these 5 conditions will tell you which sites should be further investigated. Which sites should be further investigated. Okay, what are these 5 conditions we are applying? Condition A is there any countermeasure you can apply on the site which you are already considering at the program level? Program level means at the road network level. So your agency is already considering doing something on the roads. Okay, for example, putting new speed cameras. Okay, or putting new technology in what do you call it, cat eyes. Okay, or applying some new types of signals. Okay, something like this. So you're already considering doing something on the road network. So which sites can benefit from that countermeasure which you are already considering? Okay, this helps a lot in terms of budgeting. Okay, because you are already bringing a technology, you are already spending money on it. So if you utilize it, okay, by selecting the sites on which it can be utilized, then you are maximizing your budget, you are maximizing the utility of your budget. Okay, you are already spending money on that, so why not select the sites on which this particular countermeasure will be helpful? Okay, so are you considering any countermeasures which can be helpful on that site? You are already considering those countermeasures at the program level. Condition B is, are there any newly constructed sites that seems to be having a crash problem? Okay, so when you're comparing between sites, so obviously if a site has 3 years or 4 years of data, then number of crashes for that site will be higher. Okay, in 3 years or 4 years, number of crashes will be higher. Now let's say you have a site which is only constructed 6 months ago. Okay. Now in 6 months it is having, let's say, 5 crashes. Other sites are having 20, 30 crashes because they have more data. Okay. So in this condition, we compare newly constructed sites with the other similar sites, okay, in terms of their frequency. Okay, we compare them in terms of their frequency. Now if you have at least 1 year of data, then calculating frequency is easy. Calculating frequency is easy, okay, per year, crashes per year, right? But if you have less than 1 year of data, then you can bring it to one year by multiplying it with whatever factor you need. For example, I mentioned 6 months of data. So if you have 6 months of data, then 1 year would be the twice of that, right? The twice of that. So in 6 months, if you have 5 accidents, then you convert it to per year by multiplying with 2. Okay, if you have, let's say, 3 months of data, then you will multiply it with what? If you have 3 months of data, you want to convert it to 1 year, you will multiply it with what?
By 4.
By 4. Okay, so whatever data you have less than 1 year, you have to make it into 1A. Okay, you get the point. And then you calculate this ratio. Okay, what is this ratio? Frequency of the site minus the mean frequency of the remaining sites. Okay, remaining sites means the sites which are not newly constructed, the sites which are old for which we have the full data available. Okay, divided by the standard deviation of those sites. Okay, the mean of the sites divided by the standard deviation of the sites, the standard deviation of the frequency of the sites. Okay, mean frequency on the other sites and standard deviation on the frequency on the other sites. Okay, so these are the old sites. Okay, and then you are comparing, you calculate this ratio and you compare it, you use it to compare with the newly constructed sites with the other sites. Okay, so this is condition B. And so if this ratio is higher, that means this site has a problem. This ratio is lower, that means the site doesn't have a problem. Okay. Condition C, are there any sites which have recently seen an increase in collision frequency? Okay, so then you compare the number of collisions from one year to the other and so on. And obviously you cannot do it for newly constructed sites, right? Newly constructed sites then will not be considered here because you need the year by year data then. Condition D is, are there any lower volume sites which you may not be accounting for because of not accounting for exposure? So when you are considering only frequency per year, so if there is a low volume site, it will automatically have less number of crashes. Only few vehicles are passing from that site, so obviously it will have less number of crashes as compared to other sites which have higher volume. Okay, but if you calculate the rate, then it may tell you that although it's a low volume site, but it still has a higher crash rate. Okay, few crashes on a particular site with low volume can result in a higher crash rate. So, for example, you have 20,000 vehicles on the site and 5 crashes, and the other site has 10,000 vehicles and also 5 crashes. So which one is more severe? The one with 10,000, right? It is having less volume, is still giving you the same number of crashes. Okay, so are there any sites like this which have low volume and which you are not considering because of the lower number of crashes, which is dependent upon the volume? So then you calculate the crash rate. So in condition D, you calculate the crash rate for the for all the sites. Again, these are old sites. Okay, so you select whichever has a higher crash rate. Then condition E is, are there any newly constructed sites that may be having a crash problem but you are missing them because they have low volume? Okay, so now you compare the crash rate of the new sites. Again, the same problem. Okay, it has low collision and it has low volume. So frequency was less. You did not select that site on the basis of frequency. Okay, because it has low volume, so it has low number of crashes as well. So compare it with the crash rate of the other sites. Okay, and again you see a similar ratio here, but this time the ratio is for crash rates. This ratio was for crash frequency. This ratio is for crash rate. So crash rate at your site minus the newly constructed site minus the mean crash rate for the other sites upon the standard deviation of the crash rates of the other sites. Okay, so again this ratio is higher means the newly constructed site has a problem. If this is lower, that means it may not have a problem. Okay, let us look at an example and we will see how these things are applied. Okay, so we have a public works department in Bangalore. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Anyways, so they have a budget of 1 million and they are trying to apply some countermeasures to reduce the prominent collisions at signalized intersections. Which prominent collisions they are trying to decrease? Angle, left turn, opposing, and rear end crashes. Okay, we have already discussed what do these mean. Okay, the department is open for investigating any countermeasures to improve the sites, but they are focusing on 2 countermeasures. One is increasing the visibility of the signal heads. Okay, by installing 12 inches backplace louvers. Okay, lower LEDs. Okay, so they have a new types of signal head. Okay, a signal we call it signal head. the signals you see, right? The signal lights, okay, signal lights. So they are introducing 12 inches LED lights, backplates, fluor LED lights for the signals, and they are trying to install it on as many intersections as possible, and they are also trying to increase the sight distance on the intersections. So these two countermeasures will help the driver in deciding whether to stop or go on the signal. So they are directly related with these crashes which I mentioned above. Angle crashes, left turning, opposing, and rear end crashes. So if you take care of the sight distance by doing these two measures, then you will reduce these crashes. Okay, so at the program level, at the government level, at the road network level, they are trying to reduce these crashes and they are trying to implement these two countermeasures. Okay, we have two new sites, so we have total 11 sites, out of which 2 are new. For these sites, only 1 year of data is available. Okay, for the other sites, we have 3 years of data. Okay, let us look at the data. Okay, so 11 sites, we have different types of crashes. As I said earlier, we are focusing on these three. Just give me a second. Okay, so we are focusing on these three types of crashes, right? Okay, and for each side, the ADT is given. Okay, and then the data is given for 3 years. Okay, for the total collisions. Okay, this is total collision for each year, and this is the total number of collisions for each type. Okay, for the full data from 12 to 40. Okay, and these are two new sites. Site number 2 and site number 10 are new, so for them we only have 1 year of data. Okay, now first of all, we said that if we are looking for sites with with promise, then we need crash frequency and crash rates. Crash frequency and crash rates. Okay, and we are focusing on these crashes. Okay, we are focusing on these crashes. So we will calculate the total number of crashes of interest, okay, for each site. So how many of these crashes we have on each site total, okay, and then we also need crash frequency, crashes per year, and we also need crash rate. Okay, so crash frequency and crash rate will be calculated using the total numbers. Okay, and total collisions of interest will be these. Okay, let me show you here. So for each side, you can see they have summed how many collisions of interest we have, or the collision types of our interest, the collisions on which the government is focusing on. Okay, so they are focusing on angle, left turn, and rear end collisions. Okay, so for each side we have the number here of these types, Okay, then frequency per year, simply take the number for all the years divided by the number of years for which the data is available. So for example, for crash, for site number 2, you see only 50. Crash frequency is 50. How we are getting 50? 50 divided by 1. Okay, you don't take number for 1 year and divide by 3. Okay, because the data is for 1 year. Okay, so 50 divided by 1. And then crash rate. How do you calculate the crash rate? Crashes. So this is crash rate per million vehicles. We have already calculated in the previous examples. You take the number of crashes total, multiply by 1 million, divide by the ADT into 365 for the whole year, and then multiply by the number of years. Okay, so for example, for this side it will be 49 plus 36 plus 26, multiply by 1 million, divide by 42,000 into 365 into 3 years. We have 3 years of data, right? So 3. For this side, it will be 1 year. Okay, so for these sides, it will be 3 years, and this side will be 1, and so on. Okay, so we already calculated crash frequency, crash rate earlier, so you know how to calculate. Then this is the mean for frequency, mean for crash rate, the standard deviation for mean, the standard deviation for crash rate, excluding the newly constructed sites. So in calculation of this mean and standard deviation, site 2 and site 9 are not included. This mean and standard deviation does not include site number 2 and site number 9 because they are newly constructed. Okay, so this mean and standard deviation is calculated or are calculated for the sites for which we have the similar data. Okay, so they are saying similar sites. Now apply the conditions which we have. Condition A was, are there any sites which have which can benefit from the countermeasures which are already looking to apply? So you are looking to apply countermeasures that will reduce these crashes. Okay, so are there any sites on which these crashes are higher than other sites? These crashes are higher than other sites. Okay, the crashes which we are looking to reduce by applying the two countermeasures I mentioned in the question. Okay, so if you look at the number of crashes for all the sites, you will see site 1 and site 5 have similar and the highest value. The highest value is for site 5 for these crashes, and the next one is site 1, which is very close to it. Okay, the other sites have a value which is much lesser than these values, right? Which one is the next one? The next one is this one, right? 77. So 77, 87 has a lot of difference, right? So on the basis of the countermeasures which are already considering at the program level, then you should select site 1 and site 5 for further evaluation. Now remember, we are selecting sites for further evaluation. Okay, in all the methods that we have discussed up till now, you are selecting site for further evaluation. Okay, so what further evaluation? I will talk about it later on. Okay, so according to condition A, site 1 and site 5 should be selected for further evaluation. Okay, then the condition B was, okay, what was condition? Yeah, newly constructed sites, comparing the frequency of newly constructed sites. Okay, so I said we will calculate the ratio, right? The ratio. So frequency for, so newly constructed sites are two, site 2 and site 9. Okay, site 2 and site 9. Now if you calculate the ratio was 50 minus mean upon standard deviation. Okay, so if you do this for site 2 and site 9, so site 2, 50 minus 32 upon 5.6. Okay, and then you have for site 9 it will be 24 minus 32 upon 5.6. so 24 is less than 32, right? So you will get a negative number. You will get a negative number. Okay, I think I did not write the number here. I can show you from the book. Okay, so you can see here, when you apply this ratio to site 2, you have a positive number. For site 9, you have a negative number. So negative number means site 9 as even less than the average crash frequency. So site 9 doesn't have any problem. Site 9 doesn't have any problem. And now if you look at site number 2, okay, so this ratio is 3.2. Now what does it mean? This ratio, when it is positive obviously, this ratio tells you that this site has a crash frequency which is higher than mean by 3.2 times the standard deviation. Okay, this site number 2 has a crash frequency which is higher than the average crash frequency of similar sites. And how much higher? 3.2 times is standard deviation, which is very high. Okay, anything more than 1 is considered very high. Anything more than 1 is considered very high. Okay, so 50 is the crash frequency of the site minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. Whatever number you are getting, if this number is positive, obviously if this number is negative, that means the site has less than average crash frequency. That is not a problem. But now this number is telling you that this site has a higher than average crash frequency. How much higher? 3.2 times the standard deviation. So the crash frequency on site number 2 is 3.2 times higher, 3.2 standard deviations higher than average crash frequency of similar sites. Site number 2 has a crash frequency which is 3.2 times standard deviation higher than the average crash frequency of similar sites. Okay, now this is a problem. Okay, in simple words, if this ratio is more than 1, it's a problem. So this means this newly constructed site has a problem, although it has opened for less number of years. Okay, then condition C was, are we missing any sites? Condition C is, do we have any increase in crash frequency recently? Okay, so for that we have to go for the air by air data. Okay, do we have increase in crash frequency which has happened very recently? Okay, so if you look at the sites, okay, now you see for site 5, for the other sites, for some of them it is decreasing. Obviously for site 2 and site 9 you cannot do this, you cannot do the comparison, we only have 1 year of data. For some sites you can see it is in some cases decreasing as well. For example, site number 1, the crash rate is decreasing. Decreasing is good, right? Site number 3 is decreasing. Site number 1 and 3 they are decreasing. Site number 4 it is decreasing, right? Okay, so if it is decreasing, no problem. Okay, on site number which one? So site number 6 increasing, but not by a lot. Okay, it's not a high difference. Okay. Okay, again here decreasing. Okay, now if you look at the highest increase in the recent years, it is for site number 5. Okay, you can calculate the difference for the last 2 years for all the sites. Okay, decrease you ignore. If the number is decreasing, you ignore those sites. If the number is increasing, you can take the difference between the 2 years and you can see for which site you are getting the highest difference. Okay, so the highest difference would come here for site number 5. For site number 5, in the recent 2 years, we have the highest increase. Okay, so site number 5 should be considered. Okay, and then you can look for which particular crash type the increase is for. Okay, again this is so site number 5 can be selected for further investigation on the basis of this condition. Okay, then condition, how many conditions we have tried? We have B, C. Okay, then we are looking for condition D. So are we missing any sites because of the low volume? So now we will look for the crash rates then. Okay, crash rates again for similar sites. So newly constructed sites are out of the question. So I'm looking for I'm looking at 9 crash rates of the 9 sites. Site number 2, site number 9. For the time being, ignore. For this condition, ignore. So from the remaining sites, you can see the highest crash rate is for site number 3. The highest crash rate is for site number 3. So site number 3 on the basis of this condition should be selected for further investigation. Then the last condition is, are we missing any newly constructed sites since they have low exposure and low volume? Okay, so now again you will compare the ratio of the newly constructed sites with the other sites. So you will take the ratio like we did for frequency. So crash rate at your site, average crash rate for the remaining similar sites divided by the standard deviation of the crash rate. Okay, so you are getting 0.56 here for site 2, and for site 9 it is negative. So for site 9 it is less than the average rate, so no problem. For site 2 it is more than average but not very high than average, not very high. Okay, I told you, if this ratio becomes 1 or more than 1, then we have a problem. Okay, so site number 2 or site number 9 does not have any problem in terms of crash rate. Okay, so we are not missing site number 2 or site number 9, the crashes on site number 2 and site number 9 because of the lower volume. Okay, we are not missing them. Okay, whatever analysis we did, we don't have to add these sites to that analysis. Okay, so what is the summary now? Condition 1, we selected site 1 and site 5. Okay, condition 2, we are looking at newly constructed sites. From the newly constructed sites, site 2 has a problem with the crash frequency. Okay, so site number 1, site number 5, site number 2. Okay, on the basis of the increase in frequency, we selected site number 5, right? We selected site number 5 for further investigation. And then on the basis of the fifth condition, site number 2, site number 9, both have similar collision rates or crash rates as compared to the other sites. Okay, so for condition number 5, condition E, we did not select any of the newly constructed sites on the basis of that condition. So how many sites we have selected? 1, 5, 2, and 3, right? Which one did we select for condition A? 1 and which one? 1 and 5, right? So yeah, 1, 5. Then condition B, we selected site number 2. Condition C, we selected site number 5. Okay, again. So 1, 2, 1, 5, 2, and then site number 3. So we have selected 4 sites for further investigation. So for these 4 sites, you would see, for example, site number 5. You will look at the data of site number 5, the crash types and all these things, and you will see why the number of crashes have increased from 2012 to 2013. Okay, between 2012 and 2013, why the crashes have increased. Okay, what type of crashes are increasing, what is the problem, if we apply the countermeasure, can we reduce this problem, and so on. Okay, why site number 2 has higher crash frequency in this particular AL when it was open for after construction. Okay, so you will look at the detailed data of site number 2 and so on. Okay, so these are the types. This is the type of or the sort of detailed analysis you will do. So you will look for what crashes are happening, why they are happening at this site, what was the reason of increase in the crashes, okay, and so on. Okay, so this is the detailed analysis I am talking about. The sites which you have selected by applying any of the previous methods, crash frequency method, RSI method, EPDO method, sites with promise method, you have a list of sites on which you should apply, on which you should further do investigation. Okay, what investigation you should do? We have to develop countermeasures. Countermeasures, the actions which you can do, on the site, which will reduce crashes. These are the countermeasures. Okay, so we are looking for the cost-effective solution, right? We are looking to apply a countermeasure which will reduce the maximum amount of crashes. Okay, so if you apply a countermeasure that is only expected to reduce, let's say, 10% of the crashes, and you have another one in which you can reduce 50% of the crashes, you will go for that one. Okay, but depending upon the cost. Okay, so we are looking to minimize the cost and we are looking to save maximum number of crashes. So whichever countermeasure is the cheapest and can result in the highest reduction in crashes. Okay, how do we select the countermeasure? We have to draw 2 diagrams, collision diagrams and condition diagram. Okay, collision diagram, condition diagram. I will show you in the coming slides what these diagrams are, but we have already discussed them in the traffic engineering course as well. Okay. You can also develop a set of potential countermeasures. Countermeasures which have already worked on similar sites. We already applied them on the other sites, they have worked there. Okay, so you have a list that if you apply this countermeasure, these types of crashes can reduce. If you apply this countermeasure, these types of crashes can reduce. Or we are already considering buying this technology, so this is part of the countermeasures. Okay, like we did in the previous example. Okay, they already had 2 countermeasures which they were looking to apply. Okay, so we said we need to draw 2 diagrams. These 2 diagrams are collision and condition diagram. So a collision diagram shows the location involvement of movements in the collision. Okay, where the collision happened and what movements were involved in the collision. This is what we show in a collision diagram. Okay, so the items which are included in a collision diagram include the name of the streets. Okay, because we need the location. Outline of the edges of the pavement, so where is the edge of the road, okay, on all sides. Direction orientation, where the traffic was going, from which side it is taking the turn, and so on. Symbols for collision and fixed objects. Okay, so for each type of crash we have a symbol. Okay, and for different objects we have symbols as well. We follow the symbols. any table or supplementary diagram for summarizing the collision data, such as type of collisions, severity of collisions, light conditions, or road conditions. Okay, so you may draw supplemental tables, supplemental table or a supplemental diagram to summarize the complete data of the location as well. Okay, so total number of crashes, total number of crashes for each type, total number of crashes for each severity. Okay, lighting conditions. Okay, how many crashes happen in daytime, how many in night time, and how many happen in wet conditions, how many happen in dry conditions. Number of collisions, their location, pattern, time of date, pavement condition, and severity. So these things are also mentioned in the collision diagram. Okay, if the diagram is becoming crowded, then you can use a symbol to represent multiple collisions which are of the same type. So for example, you say I'm going to use a white circle for property damage accidents. Now there are too many property damage accidents. Okay, so instead of drawing each one of them with a separate circle, you draw one circle and you say with a number 6. Okay, so all these accidents happen in the same condition. So for all those accidents, you draw just one symbol and you can write down the number somewhere. Okay, so this is a collision diagram. Okay, so you can see the legends are mentioned here. Okay, D means dry, W means wet, T means standing water. Water was there on the pavement. Okay, the date and time is mentioned. Okay, this is basically the date. Okay, the speeds of the roads are mentioned. Signals, where are the signals? It is mentioned. Then this is a supplemental table. See here, collision summary on the basis of severity. So it's a supplemental table. Okay, basic information, scale, location, time period. Okay, analysis period. Okay, so what else? Yeah, so you see some letters and numbers with each collision, and information about these letters and numbers are given here. Okay, so each severity is different, is represented with a different symbol. See here, symbols for severity, symbols for vehicle movement, symbols for collision type. Okay, and symbols for road condition and lighting condition. Okay, and the speeds and these things are mentioned. Okay, and with that they have also mentioned the date. The date is mentioned on the with arrows. Okay, this is a collision diagram. Then we have a condition diagram, which is used as a supplement for collision diagram. Okay, so it is used for understanding the causes of the collision. Okay, so you can draw it as a rough sketch in the field, or you can take an aerial photograph like a Google map or something of the field. Okay, now it's very easy. Focus on the design and operation of the traffic. Okay, how traffic system is designed on the road and how it is operating on the road. Okay, don't focus on the drivers and these things. Okay. So here in this diagram we are focusing on the design of the road. What additional information you can add? So we are adding design of the road and operational condition of the road, and then you can also add the location of any roadway debris, any the crash may have produced some some broken pieces or some broken items on the road. So you mentioned the location of those items as well. Skid marks, if the crash produced, vehicles produced any skid marks, you mention it. Signal light functionality, what type of signals you are using, LED or otherwise. Okay, now we have LED, I think in Bahrain we have LED. Okay. If you have taken any surrogate measures, we already talked about surrogate measures, like for example, conflict studies. So if you have done any conflict studies, you can mention it, okay, with the condition diagram. And I showed you one example with the conflict study where this conflicts were mentioned on the condition diagram. The road was drawn with a sketch, and on the sketch they mentioned the conflicts. Okay, so that was a condition diagram. You can check your condition diagram against checklist. So to make sure you are not missing anything. Okay, so these items are generally the part of the condition diagram. Okay. When did you do the study, the time period of collecting data, weather information, name of the investigator, site location, road names, these things. Okay. Road geometry, gradient, lanes, lane width, median type, site distance, restrictions, functional classification of the road, any distractions, type of area, okay, or intersection. Okay, if it is a signal, then signal timing. Okay, general area which is within 1.1 mile. Okay, what type of land use you have very close to the road, within 0.1 mile from the road. Signs and markings, what signs and markings are used. Okay, lane marking, crosswalks, edge markings, lane separation, warning signs. Okay, so these things. So this is a condition diagram. Okay, so that you can see they have shown medians and stop lines. Okay, this I think the crosswalk. Okay, this is a stop line. No, sorry, this is a pedestrian crossing. This one is a pedestrian crossing, and this one is a stop line. Okay, they have mentioned the lane width, the median width, where you have the trees. Okay, this is a sign where you have the signals. Okay, name of the road, the speed of the roads. Okay, name of the intersection, observation period, when did you take these things. Okay, in which town. It is a sketch. Okay, where gas station. Okay, so the edge of the roads where you have the trees, street lights. Okay, so you can see the objects on the side of the road are also included. Okay, okay, now then when we are going for countermeasure selection, you should focus on the roadway and human factors. Okay, vehicle is obviously something which can also result in accident. So a vehicle failure can also result in accident, but we are not focusing on that one. Okay, focus on the roadway and human factors, the things which we can normally control as a traffic engineer. You can apply cluster analysis. So see which factors are causing more accident. This is what we mean basically by cluster analysis. We have softwares which can do cluster analysis for you, but basically if you want to do it manually, then we are looking on the factors which are resulting in more accidents. Okay, the issues which are resulting in more accidents. Start with the earliest known cause. So what was the first cause of the accident? Okay, and then you can keep on adding other causes to the accident. So first of all, this driver was not paying attention. This is the first cause, and then maybe the other driver was also doing something, or the road also had a problem, and so on. You can add the causes to the accident. Okay, but you start with the first one. Okay, the main source, how you know the cause, is your judgment and experience. Okay, so you must have an experienced guy in your team who can look at the crash and who can look at the collision diagram, condition diagram, and tell you, okay, this crash might have happened because of this reason. Okay, in order to select countermeasures, we are focusing on 4 E's. 4 E's. It is very common in all types of engineering. 4 E's are engineering, enforcement, education, and emergency response. Okay, engineering, try to apply a design that can solve the problem. Enforcement, enforce the drivers to follow your rules, educate them. Okay, make awareness. And emergency response, when the accident happens, how will you respond to it? Okay, so you are looking to reduce the number of accidents by focusing on these 4 areas. Okay, if countermeasures on a particular site cannot be selected easily, it is confusing, then you go for other sites for which it is easier to select the countermeasures. Okay, once you select the countermeasure, it is not definite that this will work in reducing the number of accidents. So after selecting the countermeasure, your work is not done. You have to monitor the sites. You have to keep on monitoring the site, because one countermeasure may have some other issues as well. So you are reducing one type of crashes, maybe you are increasing other type of crashes. Okay, for example, installing a signal may reduce right angle crashes, but it may increase rear end crashes. It happens. Okay, so you have to keep on monitoring the site even after implementation of the countermeasure. Okay, so I will stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Yeah, and please do the evaluation, okay? Please do the evaluation. By this time, I've taken 2 tests, right? So by this time, some of you must be very angry with me. So why not you show it there, all of you? Okay, Ali Akil, Ali Salah, Iman Kamil, and Asma Khalil. Ali Akil, Ali Salah, Iman Kamil, and Asma Khalil.